Part 47. Solving the case is a little bitter, but my sister is super sweet. Author, Kisiun Jeong. Chapter 461. On a winter morning, a few rays of morning light penetrated the curtains. The thick quilt wrapped the brother and sister in their dreams. It was like a small safe haven. Lin Xian slowly opened his eyes and heard the sound of getting up in the master bedroom. He heard Mu Qingjian go into the bathroom to wash up. He also heard her put on her home clothes, walked out of the bedroom, and went to the kitchen. It feels so good to be spoiled, Lin Xian sighed softly, looking at the beautiful woman sleeping in his arms. No wonder Mu Qingtian likes to pretend to be a child. Being carefully cared for, never alone. Warm to the bottom of the heart, and spoiled to the heart. Is there anything happier than being a child in this world? No. He kissed Mu Qingtian's pink little mouth and covered her with a quilt. Lin Xian got up from the bed, washed up, and went to the kitchen. As in the past. Lin Xian hugged Mu Qingjian's slender waist from behind, with his chin hanging on her shoulder. Accompany her to make breakfast. Some people say that the silent period between partners is the sweetest. Because they can understand each other without words. A look, an expression, an action. You can guess what the other person is thinking. Say something nice. Mu Qingjian's mouth curled up a sweet smile and leaned on the arms of her rebellious son. Her eyes were soft and moist, and happiness bloomed on her face, as gentle as the morning sun. Love words. Lin Xian chuckled and teased, I'm not very good at this. If you are good at it, you are a scumbag, and if you are not good at it, you are a straight man. Or be a straight man insurance. Ha! Mu Qingjian ignored his teasing, without love words, love poems are also okay. Her arrogant tone, like a literary young woman, seemed to say, internet novels? Ha, so childish, I prefer not to remove the key after parking. Love poem. Lin Xian rolled his eyes and said proudly, then you have to enter my realm of manifestation. Really? Mu Qingjian raised her fair jade hand and gently stroked her son's cheek, say a few words. Look. Lin Xian put one hand around her waist and pointed at the morning sun outside the window with one hand, let's borrow 2 ounces of ink from the world to dye the mountains, dye the water, and dye the falling flowers. Dream of life, dream of death, dream of prosperity, it's all my fault, my wife. Hearing the first half, Mu Qingjian was stunned with shock. No, is this something he can do? But after hearing the second sentence, Mu Qingjian laughed out loud, turned around and punched him, a good poem has been ruined like this by you, say it again. Okay. Lin Xian grinned, let's borrow 2 ounces of ink from the world, 1 stroke of lovesickness, 1 stroke of falling. Let's borrow 3 cups of wine from the world, I'll be happy to die drunk in the brothel. Lin Xian. Mu Qingjian didn't know whether to laugh or cry, and punched his chest with her little fist. Ha ha. Lin Xian laughed triumphantly, kissed her lips, and coaxed softly, okay, let's not talk about my wife, let's not talk about the brothel, then let's talk about, you and I are free and easy, and we right all the mistakes in the world. Mu Qingjian was shocked again, staring at Lin Xian infatuatedly, as if she didn't recognize him. Is this still the rebellious son who is full of dirty talk and drives as soon as he opens his mouth? Looking at the shocked little expression of the goddess, Lin Xian's heart almost laughed out of breath. A big guy once said, our ability is not for vulgar pretense in front of women, but to strike a heavy blow against evil and 3060. Lin Xian, that's right, that big guy is me. Praise me quickly, worship me quickly. Lin Xian looked at the goddess with a playful look in his eyes. Het. Mu Qingjian slightly frowned and pinched the rebellious son's cheek, tell me, where did you copy it? You found out all this. Lin Xian smiled and pretended to be stupid, there's no way, how can you let a poet like me think of poetry? You've heard the poems of the seniors, it's boring. There are many good poems of the seniors. Mukinjian raised her lips. I'll give you another chance, choose the most affectionate one from the poems of the seniors. Lin Xian wanted to vent, but he didn't dare. Isn't this embarrassing? I don't care. Mukinjian hugged his waist, like a little woman. Lin Xian's scalp was numb instantly. The goddess is acting like a spoiled child, who can stand this? Well, affectionate, right? Lin Xian thought about it. If we get wet in the snow together in the future, we can be considered old together in this life, affectionate. Not really. Mukinjian smiled and shook her head. When the golden wind and jade do meet, it is better than countless things in the world. Lin Xian asked depressedly, is it affectionate? Let's talk about it later. Mukinjian looked at him quietly. Once you have seen the sea, all other waters are but puddles, except for the Wushan mountains, all other clouds are but clouds. Lin Xian's scalp numbed. Is it affectionate enough? If you say it's not enough again, then I will. The desolate land of Baishan and Chushui, sweating profusely, lay a die. I still remember that in the past, Lin Xian had such an idea. At school, I saw the ancient poem, Death. At home, I saw the ancient poem, Elegance. Elegance is what we are interested in. Death is what we don't like. Because I can't understand what it is at all. Humph. Mukinjian snorted, and stopped bullying this rebellious son, and leaned her cheek on his chest. Do you think that a man who likes to feed me food when I am half asleep and half awake is a little perverted? Lin Xian, Omega. How can this be perverted? This man is a dragon among men, unique in the world. It's like a firefly in the dark. It's so bright and outstanding. But this little pervert's writing seems interesting. Mukinjian smiled softly and looked at him. I'll ask you another question. Lin Xian. Sister, please let me go. How to describe happiness without mentioning happiness? Mukinjian looked at him with a smile. This. Lin Xian said seriously, January 31 St. Mukinjian. What do you mean? What if it's not happy? Mukinjian wanted to see what ivory he could spit out. Is there any need to ask this? Of course it's. Lin Xian laughed, December 1 St. At this moment, his conversation with the goddess was like. One person said the front door, and the other said the hips and elbows. Mukinjian was completely confused. But she knew that her brother was driving at a high speed. He ran over her face and left wheel marks. Should I beat you to death? Mukinjian hated him so much that her teeth ached, but she couldn't do anything about him. It's illegal to murder your own husband. Lin Xian held her and shook her gently. Can you beg for mercy? What if your girlfriend is angry? Mukinjian pinched his waist and smiled. It's simple. Lin Xian took it for granted, let the anger out and she won't be angry anymore. Mukinjian's mouth twitched. What if my girlfriend has a birthday? What birthday does an inflatable one need? Lin Xian was surprised. Mukinjian couldn't help laughing. It should have a production date. Haha. The brother and sister laughed and kissed each other. Love this steaming world well. Wait for time to reward, wait for the spring breeze to mean. Be happy with normality, and be at ease with what you wish for. Solving the case is a little bitter, but my sister is super sweet. Author, Kisiun. Chapter 462. General Administration Building. Mr. Liu's eyes were still as plain as a mirror and calm. Now when facing his grandfather, Lin Xian can deal with it calmly. People are bound to grow. Today, Lin Xian is only one step away from being able to compete with the older generation. This was something he worked out himself and earned through hard work. He is no longer the young boy who just joined the police force. Mr. Liu picked up a first-class military medal and wore his grandson's senior colonel uniform on his chest. Also put on a new medal. On the list of first-class merit, a 4 appeared. It means that the normal first-class merit has been won 4 times. At the same time, Mr. Liu also wore a Deputy Military Position medal for his grandson. Lin Xian was surprised. The Deputy Military Position is equivalent to the official position at the bureau level, Major General, Senior Colonel. And his political position is Deputy Position at the department and bureau level. This is unreasonable. Since it is unreasonable and this situation still occurs, what does it mean? This situation will occur in every senior colonel before he is promoted to Major General. In just one step, you can be promoted to a full military position or a deputy military district position. This is like being promoted to a provincial or ministerial deputy position, or a standing provincial or ministerial deputy position. The targets are all major generals and lieutenant generals. He was about to be promoted to general. Lin Xian's heart was beating wildly. First-class merit seems to be nothing compared to this promotion. The country is really willing to give. But after thinking about it, I think it makes sense. After all, we are going to TICO. How to manage such a special department without matching levels? Under normal circumstances, a general might be needed. But under abnormal circumstances, if there is a powerful major general, it is also fine. After all, Lin Xian went to TICO not just to manage, but to intimidate with force. Don't be naughty for half a year. Mr. Liu looked at his grandson and warned him, do you understand? Lin Xian's eyes suddenly lit up and he nodded heavily. The wedding is coming. Let's go to the security bureau for a walk. Mr. Liu patted his grandson on the shoulder and said, since I have taken up my post, let's go and have a look. I know. Lin Xian nodded with a smile. He is now also the chief of the 4th Security Investigation Section of the Security Bureau. You are a small leader of the Security Bureau, but you have never been to the Security Bureau. Is this right? Security Bureau, Director's Office. Lin Xian, who was sitting on the solid wood bench, felt a little uncomfortable. The office is filled with a simple and elegant atmosphere, and the wooden furniture exudes a light woody fragrance. It doesn't look like an office, but more like a large study room. Mr. Chu looked at the grandson-in-law in front of him with a smile, pointed at the tea, try it. Lin Xian obediently picked up the teacup and took a sip. Very familiar, drink it often at home. I couldn't help but smile and ask, Sister Qinjian, do you honor your tea leaves? Ha ha. Mr. Chu laughed heartily, yes, he is filial. How could the woman I chose be bad? Lin Xian felt proud. Would you like to stay at the Security Bureau for a few days to get used to the work? Mr. Chu's eyes gradually turned playful, looking at the little guy. Something's wrong. Lin Xian's scalp tightened, and there was confusion on his face. What does Mr. Chu mean by this? The temptation of a great man is like this, sweeping away like a spring breeze. It seems warm, but if you keep blowing it, you will catch a cold. Lin Xian suddenly recalled that his grandfather asked him to come and sit at the security station. Mr. Chu said this again in front of him. Haha, good guys, are you guys working together to dig a hole? Lin Xian felt that his soul had been impacted, and his outlook on life was on the verge of collapse. I couldn't laugh or cry, but I thought, you guys always deceive the juniors like this, where are the big bosses? Mr. Chu's eyes also changed. It was pampering, with a hint of ridicule and distress. How could these old guys not know how smart the little guy in front of them was? He is already an existence that can compete with them. Grandpa. Lin Xian smiled bitterly, if you have anything to say, just tell me. Captain, this is my family, don't shoot. Ha ha. Mr. Chu laughed heartily, picked up the teapot, and poured tea for the little guy. Lin Xian quickly held the cup with both hands. Love is the most respected thing in the family. Yu Li, this is your grandpa. No matter how awesome you are, you will always be humble in front of your elders and have to be honest. There is a mission that I would like you to participate in. Mr. Chu smiled and said, you are very suitable. Lin Xian's heart suddenly skipped a beat. Task. Participate. Suitable for him? What are you talking about? Lin Xian was puzzled. Protect someone. Mr. Chu did not hide it. When necessary, you may need to use force. Let me kill someone. Lin Xian's mouth twitched. Just tell me, I am really good at this. Do not think too much. Mr. Chu reminded, the main thing is protection. Lin Xian nodded, big boss. Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Mr. Chu shook his head. As long as it's not the big bosses, Lin Xian breathed a sigh of relief. Otherwise there will be too much pressure. When people are under great pressure and nervous, they will be prone to making mistakes. What country? Lin Xian asked. Mr. Chu said a name, the country of oil. Dog Defu. Lin Xian was surprised and smiled awkwardly. Mr. Chu didn't care. Do you know how important this mission is? Got it. Lin Xian looked solemn. Because this country has a garrison from Sam country. The United States considers you as a forbidden delicacy. If someone touches your cake, would you be angry and do something? What is Defa going to do? Lin Xian had a headache. He was not afraid of the United States, but worried about dereliction of duty. It's like asking a reckless man to charge into battle. He can kill people. But if you ask a reckless man to protect people, that's a bit too much. Protection and fighting are two completely different concepts. 50 billion in arms sales, equivalent to US dollars in oil. Old Chu's expression was solemn. Lin Xian. What is Defa going to do? Buy an aircraft carrier? Don't think this bunch of bastards can't do it. They are a group of people who are so rich that their brains are no longer normal. As long as money can do it, it's not a problem in Defa's eyes. Remember 1987? Defa bought 35 missiles at a price of 100 million per missile. US dollars. Longguo was embarrassed and gave a nuclear warhead as a gift. Of course, was it one nuclear warhead or 35 nuclear warheads? No one knew. The 3.5 billion US dollars in 1987, compared to now, you have to multiply it by at least 20 times. It is equivalent to 700 to 800 billion US dollars now, isn't it scary? As for the arms sale in front of us, what Defa wants to buy is not something Lin Xian is qualified to ask. But there is one question he has not figured out. Why do people from Longguo need to go to Defa to negotiate? What era is it now? For such things, there is no need to meet, the transaction can be completed. Lin Xian's heart skipped a beat. Thinking of the future, Defa will be out of the control of the United States. But now it is only 2017. Unexpectedly, has the layout started so early? Sure enough. No matter how high the IQ of an individual is, compared with the think tank of a country, you are nothing. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Solving the case is a little bitter, but my sister is super sweet. Author, Kisiun Zhong. Chapter 463. 3 days later. A dedicated training base for the Security Bureau. There were 15 guards standing in front of Lin Xian. It was also the first time that he saw a soldier-level guard squad. It was said in the past, if Tico is the strongest sword, then the guard is the strongest shield. Looking at the 15 guards in front of him, Lin Xuanru looked at the shields. He didn't know how the guards did it. But it is clear that if someone is protected by the 15 guards in front of him, unless you kill them first, you may harm the target they protect. Otherwise, as long as one of them is alive, you can't harm the target. 15 guards saw Lin Xian for the first time. The hairs all over his body suddenly stood up, and his body became tense. This is not fear. It is an early warning for a creature when it faces natural enemies and the existence at the top of the food chain. Their senses are also warning them crazily, danger, unprecedented danger. How about it? Mr. Chu squinted his eyes, looked at the little guy and asked with a smile, how long will it take to break through this defense? Lin Xian didn't think much, and replied in a gentle tone, if you want to make a sneak attack, 5 seconds. This is indeed very modest. No matter how strong 15 soldiers are, even if they are facing each other. For Lin Xian, 5 seconds is enough. If it were a sneak attack, it would only happen in an instant. This is the horror of growing up. Think about the past. Lin Xian was injured when he faced a soldier for the first time. Now let him fight 100 soldiers head-on, and he is confident that he can survive. He is no longer a little boy who needs help from his sister to walk in the right direction. But Lin Xian's words left Mr. Chu stunned. The expressions of the 15 guards on the opposite side changed, but none of them were angry. Even if Lin Xian is bragging, their psychology will not change in any way. Any unnecessary emotions are redundant for them. This is why Lin Xian looked at them as if he were looking at 15 shields. To use an appropriate metaphor, they have become real machines, defense machines. My guard is awesome. Lin Xian's face became serious again. What he said just now was the truth, and he said it deliberately to anger him. Want to see how 15 guards perform? The result is really awesome. They are in charge, and you are in charge of outside. Mr. Chu looked at him and asked, is it enough? That's probably enough. Lin Xian still answered expressionlessly, but if there are regional weapons of destruction, area of effect weapons, bombs, missiles, artillery shells, rockets, too many. Once something like this appears, Lin Xian may not be able to guarantee his own immortality, so how can he take care of others? After all, we are abroad and anything can happen. You can rest assured of this. Mr. Chu smiled instead, if there is an abnormality, it can only be caused by personnel, and there will be no regional destruction weapons. Where does your confidence come from? Lin Xian was not taken lightly. But he didn't ask any more questions. Since Mr. Chu said so, he must be confident. Lin Xian pondered for a moment, help me prepare some special weapons. Special weapons? Mr. Chu was surprised. Just a pistol. Lin Xian smiled and said, a powerful long-range pistol. Past. When he fights with his enemies, he always steals other people's weapons. Because he can only wear a pistol at most, which has low power and short range. Anyone who knows anything about pistols knows that police pistols are useless within 30 meters. Don't believe the effective range of 50 meters to 100 meters, that stuff is a lie. As mentioned earlier, when a police gun exceeds 20 meters, the bullet starts to drift. Military pistols are more powerful, but they can still float from 50 meters away. But carrying submachine guns and rifles is too inconvenient. The best way is to get two weapons that suit you. A pistol that can be used for both melee and long-range combat. 2 hours later, a military suitcase was placed in front of Lin Xian. Opening the box, 2 exaggerated pistols appeared. And equipped with a variety of multifunctional pistol ammunition. Lin Xian's eyes became hot when he saw those bullets. Those special bullets are a bit exaggerated, thick and big. These 2 exaggerated pistols also have very obvious shortcomings. Perhaps they are powerful and have a long range. But the ammunition capacity is too poor and can only hold 7 rounds of special bullets. It's equivalent to sacrificing ammunition capacity in exchange for power and range. There is another fatal injury. A normal person would fire a shot from it, if not wearing special gloves. It will damage the muscles of the palm and may shatter the bones of the hand. but for Lin Xian, this can be ignored. Guard Bureau shooting range. Bang, gunfire exploded, roaring like a sniper rifle. Mr. Chu and the guards opened their mouths uncontrollably. Lin Xian stared blankly at Lin Xian, who was practicing with his gun, his head buzzing. Is this still human? The pistol, which was enough to shatter human hand bones, couldn't even shake violently in Lin Xian's hands every time it was fired. What's even more terrifying is that he can shoot 3, 4, 5 shots per second, to accurately hit a moving target 100 meters away. Those are 2 hand cannons. Can you shoot 5 shots per second on a 100-meter moving target? Can you hit the target? Everyone who saw the scene was in a state of confusion. Lin Xian was very happy. Finally got 2 exclusive weapons. And equipped with 6 more full-round magazines. His force increased by 20%. The next day, Lin Xian and 15 other guards stood in front of an old man. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs is the leader. When the old man saw Lin Xian, he was surprised and a smile appeared in his eyes. He took the lead in extending his hand. Hello. Lin Xian bent down to shake hands. I'll trouble you next. The old man made a little joke, protect me well. Lin Xian smiled, do my best. Everyone boarded the plane. 10 hours later. King Khalid International Airport, Riyadh, the capital of the rich country. The plane landed slowly and stopped slowly, and the passenger elevator was in place. When the cabin door opened, Lin Xian stood at the door and sensed no danger. The old man walked out of the cabin slowly and walked down the passenger elevator. Lin Xian stood motionless by the cabin door. Wait until the entourage got off the plane. Lin Xian followed them down the passenger elevator and looked around the red carpet. A group of white cloths, honor guards, and welcomers. He ignored them all. Lin Xian's nerves were already stretched to the limit, alert all around. As Wang Lao shook hands and greeted those little white cloths, as the crowd moved, and as the crowd boarded bulletproof cars. Still no sense of danger. The motorcade drove away and drove out of the airport. Then, they arrived at a place. Sifang Palace. This was once the palace of the founding king of Daifu. It shows the unique artistic charm and cultural heritage of Daifu's traditional architecture everywhere. Because of its square shape, it is named Sifang Palace. When the motorcade stopped in the parking lot and Lin Xian got out of the car, his face changed instantly. He stood beside the old man without leaving any trace. He looked around. Here, there is danger. Solving the case is a little bitter, but my sister is super sweet. Author, Kisiun Zhong. Chapter 464. King of Soldiers, Fighting Soldiers, and Some Very Special Auras? Lin Xian frowned and followed the old man closely. Feeling a strange danger, but no killing intent. Entering the Sifang Palace. The old man shook hands and talked with the royal family and senior officials of the rich country. Then, rest. After all, he had been on the plane for more than 10 hours. The formal talks will be held tomorrow. Sifang Palace Foreign Guest Lounge. Lin Xian accompanied the old man and walked into a super large business suite. Living room, lounge, gym, swimming pool, everything. The old man sat down and waved to Lin Xian. Hesitated for a while. Lin Xian came to sit next to the old man. Don't pretend. The old man smiled. Okay, Lin Xian smiled awkwardly. Let's not talk about his own level and status. Just say that the thighs standing behind him, which one is weaker than the old man in front of him? Let's talk about himself. As long as it is a high-level circle, how many big guys don't know that he is going to take over the special department? To put it more exaggeratedly, Lin Xian now has no real power. He is indeed on par with the old man in front of him. This does not refer to the level. It is the power of Lin Xian in the future that is so terrifying that it makes anyone tremble. Because the Special Operations Department is a knife hanging over the heads of countless people. If you dare to stand on the opposite side of the country and the people, this knife will cut it off instantly. This is the most terrifying and the most terrifying power. The secretary brought the teapot and poured tea for the two. "Are you getting married soon?" the old man asked with a kind smile. "Are you big guys so gossipy?" Lin Xian twitched his mouth. "It seems that everyone in the world knows that he is getting married." Haha. After teasing the little guy, the old man picked up the teacup. "Don't forget to invite me to watch the ceremony." "Definitely," Lin Xian nodded. What else can he say? He is also helpless. The head of a department has asked for wedding wine, can you refuse? But Lin Xian suddenly raised his hand and held the old man's wrist. The teacup hovered at the old man's lips. The old man was stunned. Countless eyes were staring at Lin Xian. Lin Xian took the teacup, looked at it for a few seconds, and looked at the secretary beside him. Where did the cup come from? From the water cabinet. The secretary looked stunned. A guard said, "It has been checked and disinfected. The tea leaves are also his own. There is no problem with the water. There is nothing wrong, but now there is a problem." Lin Xian looked at the teacup. He sensed a trace of danger, but it was not fatal. And this kind of danger did not exist at the beginning, but suddenly appeared. What the hell? Get a basin, Lin Xian ordered. A guard quickly left and brought a basin from the bathroom. After taking it, Lin Xian held the teacup and poured the tea into the basin. Observe the teacup. Soon, he found a very small dent in the teacup. If it were not for his super eyesight, it would be difficult to detect. Lin Xian asked the guard to bring the other teacups. The remaining 4 teacups were brought. He began to observe them one by one. Found something wrong. This was because these teacups were all perfect. You disinfected them once and then scalded them with hot water, and there was no problem. But the hot water in the cup stayed for more than 30 seconds. A strange situation occurred. I saw a dent slowly appearing at a certain place at the bottom of the cup. Something melted into the water. The guards' faces changed. They knew something was wrong. It has nothing to do with you. Lin Xian glanced at the guards. The other party's methods are very cunning, calculating that we will disinfect and scald with hot water. After saying that, he looked at the gloomy and serious old man. It's not poison, but I don't know what it is. If you drink it, there will be problems. Haha, the old man sneered. To be able to sit in his position, what kind of storms and conspiracies has he not seen? He even saw some diplomats embarrassed. For example, some people deliberately drug to make some diplomats have diarrhea, get drunk, and talk nonsense in public. Do you think this is a joke? If I tell you, some countries are just so ugly. This kind of thing has happened more than once or twice. What would you think? Tomorrow the old man will have a meeting with the top leaders of Daifugui, but there are many reporters, broadcasting the whole process live. If there are some accidents, it will make Longguo embarrassed to the whole world. Notify their people. The old man pointed to the tea and cups in the basin and looked at the secretary. Let them give an explanation. So arrogant, Lin Xian laughed. Yes, Longguo has the capital to be arrogant now. Recalling the previous life. 1937. Sakura country lost a devil and started a full-scale war of aggression. 2023. Sakura country lost a lieutenant general, and many people questioned that it was Longguo's doing, but the little devil's high-level officials urgently refuted the rumor and said it had nothing to do with Longguo. I still remember what Mr. AI once said, other countries prepare for world wars by teaming up with many countries to prepare for war and bully others together. If our dragon country is preparing for war, it is dragon country that is preparing for itself and the whole world. Dragon country did it in 2024. The defense system built is aimed at the entire Earth, not a certain invading country. There are only two things that the dragon people recognize in their bones. One is drug prohibition, and the other is a strong army, which has never changed. This is the capital of the dragon people's madness. You dare not love peace. Then beat you to love peace. The people from the rich country came very quickly. They also brought two professionals. After testing the tea in the basin, their faces turned livid. After apologizing to the old man, he said politely, "I will give you an explanation immediately." In less than 3 hours. The other party's people came to the old man respectfully, handed over a tablet computer and played a video. The video of 19 people being executed. About the identities of the 19 people, what they did, and what is the relationship with this incident. All are explained in detail. The old man smiled and nodded to express his gratitude. After the other party left, the old man looked at Lin Xian. "What did you see?" "Just pretending." Lin Xian said calmly, "Who among ordinary people can touch the things of the Deva royal family and do something with them?" "Yeah." The old man asked with a smile, "What else?" "Something went wrong with the top management of Devu." Lin Xian pondered for a moment. This is also normal. After all, they were too close to the United States in the past. There are traitors in any country, and it is possible that some people want to get promoted, but these things have nothing to do with us. We are just going through the motions. As mentioned before, if you want to have a talk, you don't have to meet in person. Which one can't be discussed on the phone or the internet? The reason why I came to Deva was just to go through the motions and show it to some people. How simple is this truth? Some people also understand this truth. Although they can't stop it, but they can retaliate against you. Look, isn't the revenge coming? Solving the case is a little bitter, but my sister is super sweet. Author, Kisiun Zhong. Chapter 465. Night, silent. The old man is resting in the bedroom. Sudden. Lin Xian, who was sitting on the sofa, opened his eyes. Sensing the danger, he looked towards the door. 5 seconds later, there was a knock on the door. The guards were on alert. A guard and the other guards looked at each other for a few moments, then came to the door and opened it. A maid wearing traditional royal attire and a black veil bowed down to salute. The guards stared at her coldly. At this moment they could also sense the danger of this maid. At this moment, Lin Xian stood up and did not look at the maid. A little Karami who is at the level of a soldier is not worthy of his attention. But I sensed something was wrong in the bedroom. Sudden. The maid instantly took out 2 pistols equipped with silencers. It's just that the arm has just been raised. He was held by a guard. The guard's forehead hit the maid's face. Bang, blood splattered everywhere. Next moment, the guard's knee struck the maid's armpit. When the maid falls. Bang. The guard's fist had hit the maid's throat bone. Danger is over. The whole process takes 2 seconds. Lin Xian also stood in front of the bedroom door and opened the door. Smell an odor that cannot be detected by ordinary people's sense of smell. But he couldn't escape his disgusting sense of smell. He appeared next to the bed in an instant, picked up the sleeping old man, and quickly exited the bedroom. The old man woke up with a start and was already lying on the sofa. Colorless and odorless. Lin Xian looked at the bedroom with a serious expression. Use a woman to attract attention and secretly poison her in the bedroom. If it were a little later, the old man would probably have been tricked. Is the revenge of some people so powerful? It also shows that there is something wrong with the Sifang Palace in front of us. Can't stay any longer. The next second, Lin Xian thought of another possibility. Is the other party trying to force them to leave Sifang Palace? First the teacup, and now the poisoning in the bedroom. It's possible that it was all a cover-up. Is it possible that someone from the other party is waiting for them outside? Before coming to Dafa country, Lin Xian asked Mr. Chu, "Are you not worried about the other party using regional level anti-personnel weapons?" Mr. Chu smiled and reassured him. This premise is because they are in the Sifang Palace. In a wealthy country, who dares to blow up the Sifang Palace? Therefore, there will be no regional level anti-personnel weapons. Has the situation changed since they left Sifang Palace? In an instant, Lin Xian analyzed various possibilities. Various dangers that may arise are also calculated. Finally Lin Xian had an idea. Said to the old man, "You can't leave here." The old man looked at Lin Xian in shock. He also guessed something, someone is forcing us to leave. This brain power is awesome. Lin Xian smiled and nodded, "That's more or less it. If you leave, I'm afraid that the other party will use other means to protect you. If it were here, as long as the other party doesn't use regional level lethality weapons, no matter how much, it's all meaningless." The old man did not hesitate, "Do as you say." The rich man is here again. After checking the bedroom, his expression changed again. Also found the detox point. There is a remote control device on the wall lamp that can emit toxic gas remotely. This poisonous gas can cause cardiac arrest in the elderly. If he died, it would be difficult to find out by autopsy. People from the wealthy royal family came to the scene in person to apologize. Other places to live should be arranged for the elderly. Promised to give the old man an explanation. The old man smiled and said no, and said he had complete trust in Sifang Palace and De Fugui. Lin Xian watched these old men having sex there. My tooth hurts from looking at it. It's scary when humans put on masks. The rich people were all surprised, but their faces were full of joy. Because the people of the Dragon Kingdom expressed complete trust. You stay here even though you know there is danger. It's like treating them as true friends and brothers. Waited for another room and checked the room thoroughly. The old man continued to rest. Lin Xian lay down casually on the carpet and stayed beside the old man. Early the next morning, the member of the royal family met the old man in person. Another tablet was brought. After watching the video recording on the tablet, even Lin Xian called out this time, "Good guy." More than 40 people were executed. Among them are 9 members of the royal family. Don't get excited. There are more than 5,000 members of the Dafa royal family, including 2,000 core members. 9 died, drizzle. However, this is also the sincerity of the rich countries. The 9 royals are no joke either. One can imagine how angry they themselves were. But these things have nothing to do with the Dragon Kingdom. On the same day, the formal talks between the old man and De Fugui began. This meeting will last 3 days. There were 3 meetings with Dafo's senior officials, Dafo's royal family, and Dafo's military. While the old man was talking to Dafo executives, Lin Xian observed the scene. Reporters, dignitaries, staff, all are in his eyes. No abnormalities were found. Because there was no abnormality, Lin Xian had a bad feeling. There is always calm before the storm. Whenever he had a bad feeling, something big was going to happen. What will it be? There are still 2 days left. Lin Xian had a sullen face. After holding on to 3 talks, they can leave the rich country. As long as they stay in the Sifang Palace, some people will not dare to use supernormal weapons. If you don't use those weapons, you will die as many as you come. Noon. A banquet was held in the Sifang Palace of De Fugui to entertain the elderly. After eating the country's traditional palace cuisine, there was a performance. The old man watched Dafa folk performances such as sword dance. He also happily danced with the Dafa senior executives present. These are all small diplomatic tricks. Lin Xian was still standing not far away, alert to all possible dangers. By the afternoon, The old man returned to his residence. Lin Xian breathed a sigh of relief. Drink tea with the old man and chat. The day passed like this. But at night. Lin Xian, I bought a watch last year. The auras of 3 warriors appeared with murderous intent. He sat up from the carpet and glanced at the old man resting on the bed. Get up and walk out of the bedroom. Be careful. Lin Xian informed the security team, here comes the work. The expressions of the guards changed drastically. Weapons, means of defense, preparations of all kinds. Lin Xian stood guard at the door of the bedroom, not prepared to participate. 15 combat level guards are no joke. The 3 enemies, even soldiers, are here to deliver food. Sudden screams came from outside the door. The guards of Daifukyo were attacked. Followed by. With a bang, the door was knocked open. But there was no one outside the door, and 2 blast bombs flew into the hall. The guards of the Dragon Kingdom were well prepared and fearless. Lin Xian went even further and calmly watched the detonation bomb explode. In novels, this is the calmness that only a forced king can have. Bright lights, impacts, loud noises, were ignored by him. You must use all means, Lin Xian sneered. Otherwise, I wouldn't even be qualified to take action. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Solving the case is a little bitter, but my sister is super sweet. Author, Kisiun. Chapter 466. After the blast bomb, a figure broke in instantly. The person is still in the air, and his hands are moving sideways and shooting. At the same time, 2 muzzles appeared at the gate, firing in conjunction with their companions in the air. The 3 micro punches can be said to work together seamlessly, advancing into a combat formation. But when the first person rushed into the hall, on top of the door frame inside the house, a Dragon Kingdom guard jumped down. Like a falcon striking the air, it pounced on the figure. In just an instant, the 2 bodies were entangled. 2 gunmen outside the lower door were about to move their guns. 2 arms reached out from the door and grabbed their wrists. Quickly pull into the house. Immediately afterwards, countless figures rushed towards the 3 assassins. 9 combat level guards versus 3 combat level attackers. And it is still a sneak attack. What will be the result? There was no fighting, no fancy fights. In just an instant, 3 warrior level assassins died. He was stabbed in the vital part by 3 sabers, shot in the head and pierced through the heart by bullets. The 9 guards retreated, leaving 3 bodies on the ground. Lin Xian stood at the door of the bedroom with an expressionless face. He moved his eyes away from the 3 assassin corpses and looked towards the door. Countless guards and military policemen from wealthy countries rushed over. There are those at the soldier king level and the combat soldier level. Lin Xian looked at them calmly, thinking about a question. How the 3 assassins passed through layers of protection and defense. Came to them. Don't regard soldiers as gods and think they are omnipotent. This is the Sifang Palace, the old palace of the rich country. Even the soldiers can't rush in. But if someone brought them in, Lin Xian's face gradually turned cold. Analyze the greatest possibility. Not only is there something wrong with the royal family, it's something big. It should involve high-level officials of the royal family of the rich country. They are jumping over the edge. We must use the most violent means to force them to leave Sifang Palace. The royal family has arrived. Inform the people of the Dragon Kingdom that there are armed men attacking the Sifang Palace, a terrorist attack. So Sifang Palace is no longer safe. They came to protect the people of the Dragon Kingdom from leaving here and sending them to a safe place. Ha, Lin Xian sneered in his heart. It also confirmed his analysis. But it's impossible not to leave now. The master is already asking you to leave. How can you stay here? The bedroom door opened, and the old man came out and glanced at Lin Xian. Lin Xian could think of something, and the old man could think of it too. Follow my command. Lin Xian was very calm. Leave with them first. The old man trusts the little guy's various decisions. If you can't even trust Taiko's future leadership, who else can he trust in this world? The crowd was escorted underground by 3 members of the wealthy royal family and a large number of guards. Entering a secret passage that only members of the royal family would know, and prepared to leave. However, just after entering the secret passage under the Sifang Palace, Lin Xian's pupils shrank. Danger is perceived. This is a passage only known to members of the royal family. Why is it dangerous? Lin Xian looked at the royal family members and raised the corners of his mouth. The underground passage is like a deep mouth of a giant beast. Faint light illuminates the silhouette of a railroad car lying still. That rail car is very mini, like a small train. It can accommodate 30 people and is powered by electricity. Lin Xian looked directly at the rail car and stopped the old man getting on the train. Pointing to the 3 royal members, he said in Arabic, "You go first." Everyone was stunned. The 3 royal members frowned and were about to say something. Lin Xian's hand seemed to appear out of thin air, with 2 extra exaggerated pistols. Point to them. The guards of Daifukuo suddenly became nervous. The guns in the hands of the Dragon Kingdom guards were also pointed at them. The situation is tense. Okay, let's go first. A member of the royal family nodded and glanced at Lin Xian coldly. Then 3 members of the royal family and the guards got on the train. The little train moved on the rails, making a harsh sound of metal friction, which made people feel depressed and uneasy. The little train disappeared from everyone's eyes and disappeared into the underground passage. Lin Xian put away his pistol and looked at the old man. Exit first. Everyone retreated and were about to exit the underground passage. Sudden boom. In the distance of the passage, there was a terrifying explosion and roar. Shock waves and air waves hit along the passage. The air seemed to be torn apart instantly, and the shock wave was like an invisible sharp blade, cutting through the silent space, leaving behind harsh roars and traces of destruction. The eyes of the old man and his entourage were twitching, and the faces of the 15 guards were ugly. They had checked the little train but found no bomb at all. Thinking back to the poison teacup and the poisonous gas in the bedroom, Lin Xian discovered them all. Everyone looked at Lin Xian strangely. How did you discover the danger? Look at the chicken feathers. Lin Xian didn't want to explain, and couldn't explain. He turned to the old man and said, "There is something wrong with the top royal family of the rich country. The average royal family members will never have the courage, they can only be the core members." Pretty much what I thought. The old man's face was solemn. It seems that someone has taken refuge in Sam country, or it is a dog raised by Sam country. This situation is too normal. Sam country's remote breeding technology is very strong, and Dragon country also has many Muang dogs. It's just that they can't infiltrate the top level of Dragon country. But it's different abroad. Look at Sakura country and Kimchi country, they are basically all their dogs. Daifu country has more than 5,000 royal family members, and there must be dogs among them. Sam country raises dogs for control, and people in Daifu country use dogs to get ahead. They hit it off. What should we do now? The old man is not good at fighting and killing, so he can only let Lin Xian arrange it. The most dangerous place is the safest place. Lin Xian smiled and said, "Go back to Sifang Palace." Everyone retreated to Sifang Palace again. Be prepared. Lin Xian looked at the 15 Dragon Country guards. Your current mission is to protect, and you don't need to take action unless necessary, understand? The guards nodded. Guarded by the old man and his entourage. They also knew that Lin Xian was going to take action. Lin Xian ignored the people in Sifang Palace and chose a location. Sifang Palace Harem Bedroom. This is the bedroom of the founding king of Dafu country, which is easy to defend and difficult to attack. There is no other place to enter except the main entrance of the bedroom. Can you enter this place casually? The Sifang Palace in front of you was actually renovated and converted into a living museum as early as 1999 and open to the public. It is mainly used as a center for administrative decision-making, and an important place for meetings, talks, and negotiations with dignitaries from various countries. Today's king and important royal family members do not live here. Instead, they live in the new palace. Lin Xian stood alone in front of the harem bedroom and issued a warning to all the people in the Sifang Palace. Don't get close, otherwise I will kill you without mercy. In an emergency, I can't care so much. Lin Xian stood in front of the door like a god of war. One man guards the pass. Solving the case is a little bitter, but my sister is super sweet. Author, Kisiun. Chapter 467. Outside Sifang Palace. A dozen police cars showed up, as well as 5 explosion-proof vehicles. The police and special police got out of their cars one after another, preparing to enter Sifang Palace for support. Sudden. 3 off-road vehicles appeared on the road. Figures carrying rockets poked their heads out of the car windows. Facing the location of the police and special police officers, he pulled the trigger. The 6 rockets drew perfect arcs in the air, and their tail flames were as bright as meteors. Its speed was dizzying, and it landed exactly where the police were. Boom boom boom. The explosion was as shocking as thunder, and the fire lit up the dark night sky. The shock and destructive power produced by the explosion instantly overwhelmed the police officers. Heavy casualties. 3 off-road vehicles stopped and a large number of masked armed men rushed down. Burst, thud, thud, 2 heavy machine guns fired wildly. The deafening sound of gunfire echoed in the air, like the roar of a giant beast. Bullets poured out like a torrential rain, forming a deadly web of firepower. Brutally covering the police and special police, venting cruelty and ruthlessness. Flesh and blood were minced, mashed, and beaten into pieces. Nearly 50 police and special police officers were attacked by heavy machine guns and rockets. They only lasted less than half a minute, and everyone was killed. 12 masked armed men formed a sawtooth triangle formation and rushed towards the Sifang Palace. Just from the formation, we can see that there are scouts, fire team, command team, cover team. No matter how ordinary armed personnel are, the special forces are not as powerful as them. Rather, it is a top-notch special operations team with all the soldiers in charge. In the Sifang Palace. Lin Xian shook his head impatiently. Already heard gunfire and explosions outside. He even felt the 12 auras of the King of Soldiers. It's useless. If there were only 12 soldier kings, he wouldn't even be qualified to hunt them. But his attention now is in Sifang Palace. He sensed the auras of 6 soldiers with murderous intent. Not from a rich country. It can be seen that the entire Sifang Palace has become a sieve and has been infiltrated long ago. As Lin Xian inferred, some important members of the royal family have rebelled against the wealthy country and become someone's dog. A question came that made Lin Xian a little confused. Why kill people? Why kill people from the Dragon Kingdom? Everyone knows that Longuo's current talks with Dafu are just going through the motions. Some things simply cannot be stopped. What's the use of killing people? This will not only anger the Dragon Kingdom, but also the royal family of the wealthy country. On the contrary, it will make the 2 countries cooperate more closely, and the gains outweigh the losses. As long as he is not a fool, who would do this? Suddenly, Lin Xian's scalp exploded. I have a terrible suspicion. Just if the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Dragon Kingdom died in the rich country. Moreover, the king of the rich country also died. What kind of situation will arise? Lin Xian didn't dare to think about it anymore. There is no time to think about it. He raised his head and looked at the huge courtyard in front of him, and saw a person walking slowly in the distance. He was a tall and powerful white man. He has a strong physique, bulging muscles, sharp eyes, and a strong murderous aura permeating his body. A warrior, and a top warrior. It may be close to Gao Yang of Bitco. But compared to that of Zhao State, it is comparable. Sudden. Between the electric light and flint. Bang, 2 sniper bullets were fired at Lin Xian. At the same time. Da-da-da. Dense bullets came. Any direction in which Lin Xian could escape was blocked, and all spaces were blocked. Just the moment the gunfire appeared, Lin Xian had already moved. Avoided the bullet coverage area 0.3 seconds in advance. And at this time, the white man had lunged at him. So fast, Lin Xian's eyelids twitched. Looking at that strong body, it is as flexible as a cheetah. He appeared in front of him instantly and grabbed it with a palm. He grabbed Lin Xian's face. It can be seen that the white man is very confident in his melee combat. He is also the fastest person Lin Xian has ever seen. But it's still useless. Lin Xian's visual space. The speed of the white man's hand moves like a snail, like a turtle crawling. Lin Xian could even see the kinetic energy waves created by the surrounding bullets in the air. I've said it before. Lin Xian's cheating ability is growing. It will only get stronger. But this strength grows with battle after battle. In the face of life and death crises, we can continue to break out and grow. If it were back then, it was the first time to face these top-level soldiers who surpassed ordinary soldiers. He will most likely die. And now. The moment the white man grabbed his face. Snap, Lin Xian's palm grabbed the man's face first. Click. Blood splattered and brains exploded. When his left hand scratched the man's head, a huge pistol appeared in his right hand. Bang, 5 shots per second. 2 bullets penetrated a wall and pierced the bodies of 2 men. Another 3 bullets blew out 3 heads. They are 70 meters away, 45 meters away, and 30 meters away. In the past, Lin Xian fired, but the soldiers could still dodge. Now they don't even have the possibility to escape. Too fast. Kill the white man, 5 shots per second, all completed within 1 second. Or when they were surrounding him. How to hide? 6 powerful soldiers died just like that. This is the grown-up Lin Xian. Facing such an existence, how to kill? What can you use to kill? It is no longer realistic to use soldiers to pile up. There are no large-scale killing weapons, no regional weapons. You can no longer kill him. Maybe it is really like what Zhao Guo said. Today, Lin Xian has become a god with blood bars. The body of the soldier with the crushed head and the other 5 bodies fell together. Blood dripped on Lin Xian's left hand. Standing there expressionlessly, looking into the distance. What other means can the other party use to force them out of the Sifang Palace? Or do those people dare to blow up the Sifang Palace? Soon, Lin Xian's expression became strange. Finally understood the purpose of the 12-man soldier team rushing into the Sifang Palace. Finally, I understand why 6 soldiers came to die. Because someone is using 6 soldiers to hold him back. Let the 12-man soldier team place a bomb in the Sifang Palace. Because some people should know that the monster from Dragon Country is coming. No matter how many people you send in, they will die, no surprise. No one can force Lin Xian out of the Sifang Palace. But placing a bomb is different. The other party is like asking Lin Xian, do you believe we dare to detonate the bomb? Faced with such a situation, does Lin Xian dare to gamble? If it were him, he would dare. But at this time, his mission is to protect the old man, so he dare not gamble. What if the other party really detonates the bomb? No martial ethics, right? Lin Xian showed a strange smile. Then let's play in a different way. Retreat to the harem bedroom. 1 minute later. Lin Xian accompanied the old man and ran to the exit of the Sifang Palace. Only the two of them rushed out of the Sifang Palace. Solving the case is a little bitter, but my sister is super sweet. Author, Kisiun Zhong. Chapter 468. Parking lot outside Sifang Palace. Lin Xian helped the old man run and appeared in front of a car. Open the door and get in the car. Bang, bang, bang. Gunfire appeared. The gunshots were as fierce as a hurricane, and the bullets poured down like a rainstorm. The whole car was covered in a net of fire, and each bullet was devastating. Unfortunately, the car was a bulletproof car of Daifukyo, and all the bullets were blocked and could not penetrate. 12 masked armed men opened fire while quickly advancing towards the car. Buzz, the car started, and the tires rotated rapidly. Sliding on the ground, white smoke and green mist hit the group of armed men. The other party dodged and dispersed. At this time, the car opened the sunroof and a figure appeared. Bang! Double guns opened fire, 10 shots per second. The heads of 10 armed men wearing bulletproof helmets were hit by bullets. The helmets and heads exploded together. The remaining 2 armed men were stunned and scared crazy. What kind of bullet is this, and what kind of gun technique is this? Bang, 2 shots. The remaining 2 armed men were shot in the head again. Lin Xian retreated into the car and continued to drive the car. He steered with one hand and changed the magazine with one hand. He replaced new magazines for his 2 terrifying exclusive pistols. The car rushed out, drove out of the Sifang Palace parking lot and entered the street. Rushing all the way. Are they all king-level mercenaries? Lin Xian, who was driving, frowned. His brain was analyzing rapidly. Suddenly, Lin Xian's face changed and he turned the steering wheel sharply. Sensing the impending danger, 2 rockets flew in an instant and flew past the car. Boom, a car behind exploded and flew up. Hit the vehicle. The car Lin Xian was in drifted on the road, and his body leaned out of the skylight again. Bang, 2 bullets flew. The 2 armed men on the building in the distance fell down with headshots. At this moment, a large pickup truck crashed in. With a bang, it collided with the car. Several armed men jumped out of the car and the rear cargo compartment. Tuesday. Da. The bullets were like dense raindrops, madly shooting at the car. The sound of gunfire was deafening. Lin Xian had a calm face. He looked at the armed men outside the car as if he was looking at reptiles. The bulletproof car was also very powerful and blocked all the bullets. He stepped on the accelerator. It crashed into several armed men, and the car turned sideways on the spot. It knocked the pickup truck away and rushed out again. With a bang, Lin Xian drove the car into the floor-to-ceiling window of a building. It knocked the glass away and opened a shopping mall. Screams were heard everywhere. Lin Xian and the old man got out of the car and ran to the stairwell of the shopping mall. Countless armed men rushed into the building after them. Some ran to the elevator, some took the escalator, and some rushed to the stairs. It was at this moment. The 3rd floor of the shopping mall. Boom, the window exploded. Lin Xian fell down with his feet on the ground, and rushed in from the 1st floor in the opposite direction. Bang, 4 shots. The 4 armed men guarding the 1st floor were killed. Lin Xian rushed to the stairwell, exchanged fire with the armed men in front, and shot them. He ran out of the stairwell with the old man and rushed out of the mall. At this time, the armed men who went upstairs found something wrong. Wait for them to rush down the building and rush out of the door. Da. Lin Xian held the 2 submachine guns he had robbed and opened fire. The gunshots were deafening, and bullets rained down. More than a dozen armed men fell down in an instant. Only one person was alive and tried to dodge. Lin Xian had appeared in front of him. He held his neck with one hand and raised the other hand. Puff! It penetrated the abdomen of the armed man and went deep. It grabbed the other's pounding heart. Who are you? Lin Xian looked at the other person, in English. Blackwater. The other party howled, his eyes full of fear, begging, let me go. Poof. Lin Xian crushed the other party's heart. He retracted his arm and shook his hand. Blood spilled. The old man not far away saw this scene. His eyelids twitched and he was horrified. Blackwater, Lin Xian's eyes flashed with murderous intent. Blackwater International, formerly known as Blackwater Security Company. It is a private military and security consulting company. One of the most powerful mercenary groups in the world. People prefer to call them Blackwater Company. In the name of providing global security services to the world. In fact, they can be seen in major battlefields around the world. They are also dogs, thugs, and dirty workers of the United States. Through their appearance, Lin Xian can be sure. The people of the United States have taken action. Lin Xian licked the corner of his mouth. When I complete this mission, I will play with you. It seems that the things he played with, most of them disappeared. Lin Xian stole a car and drove away with the old man. Driving to the new palace of Defa Kingdom. Driving all the way, there was no attack. Arriving outside the new palace, Lin Xian was also enlightened. The palace stood tall, magnificent, and magnificent. The architectural style of the palace combines tradition and modernity, and it is like a shining pearl in the night, revealing the dignity and glory of the royal family. Before approaching the palace, the car was stopped by the military police. Lin Xian made clear his and the old man's identities. Let him go. 2 police cars escorted him to the palace. There were many royal family members waiting at the door. When Lin Xian got out of the car and opened the door for the old man. When the old man just got out of the car. Bang, gunshot. A bullet shot at the old man's forehead. With a bang. The bullet was blocked by an exaggerated pistol. Lin Xian looked at the royal family members of the rich country who were already stunned. The scene was instantly in chaos. Some people were on guard, protecting, and evacuating. Some people were looking for assassins. Lin Xian watched the scene calmly from the side. It was not until a prince of the rich country appeared that the scene was quiet. However, when the prince came to the old man and shook hands, something strange happened. Bang, the old man was shot in the chest and fell down. Countless guns were pointed at Lin Xian. Lin Xian looked calmly at the prince's cuffs in front of him, which contained a wrist gun. The prince's face changed, and he stepped back and roared, "Kill him!" Gunfire roared all around. Lin Xian was like a shadow, sticking to the prince's body. Bang, 10 shots in 1 second. Gunfire went silent all around. Bang, 4 more shots. Magazines popped out of 2 pistols, and 2 new magazines popped into Lin Xian's sleeves. Bang, 8 shots in 1 second. Lin Xian put down his hands, and the world became quiet. But the prince's face turned pale, as if he had been drained of blood, looking at Lin Xian stupidly. No, he was looking behind Lin Xian. Looking at the old man who was obviously shot, he slowly stood up and tore off a mask from his face. He turned into a young man. Following closely behind, a bus drove into the palace area and stopped in front of the palace. An old man got off the bus first, and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Longguo took the lead. At the same time, an old man wearing a pink plaid cloth walked out of the palace. The 7th king of the great rich country. The 2 old men smiled kindly and shook hands. Plop. The prince collapsed on the ground. I was shaking all over and was so scared that I peed my pants. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Solving the case is a little bitter, but my sister is super sweet. Author, Kissy. Chapter 469. Walking into the palace, Lin Xian felt like he had traveled through time and space. Feel the weight and vicissitudes of history and endless luxury. Everyone came to the luxurious hall of the palace specially used for receiving guests. The old man and the old king took their seats. Lin Xian leaned in a corner not far away and closed his eyes to rest. Tonight, he played a trick of building plank roads openly and secretly attacking Chen Kang. Using the old man's stand and himself, he drew all the firepower. It was as if Lin Xian didn't dare to bet on whether the bomb in Sifang Palace would explode. The other party also didn't dare to bet on the authenticity of the old man next to him. Use a stand-in to attract everyone's attention. He even caught a wealthy prince and made a lot of money. Lin Xian was not interested in knowing what the old man and the rich king talked about. He leaned against the wall, closed his eyes, and began to recover. The whole night was spent on nerves. Not physically tired, but mentally exhausted. I can't even handle it. While resting, he was still on guard. There are more than 100 warrior auras on the alert in the palace. After all, it is a national palace, where the king lives. It is also a country that is not short of money. It would be hell if there weren't a large number of soldiers. Lin Xian had to wonder if this old king was fake. For example, there are only 15 guards from the Dragon Kingdom in the surrounding area at this time. There are also as many as 30 soldiers level guards from the wealthy country. And the guards looked at him as if they were terrorists. Gold will always shine, Lin Xian complained in his heart. You think so, Taizi? In fact, he was thinking about it too. What would happen if I slaughtered the palace of the wealthy king? Very exciting. 3 o'clock in the morning. Lin Xian accompanied the old man to stay overnight in the palace and entered the luxurious guest room. When you see the house full of gold and gems, luxurious decoration. Lin Xian and the old man were both emotional. Dog Dafa means rich. Thanks for your hard work. Sitting on the sofa, the old man drank tea and said with a smile. Boss, isn't your focus a bit strange? Lin Xian smiled and said, don't ask me what I encountered. Are you from Sam country? The old man said calmly. Well, you are awesome, Lin Xian was convinced. Maybe he can disobey anyone by playing criminal investigation and playing with his brains. But it refers to officialdom, politics, and intrigue. He is not worthy of carrying shoes for these big guys. Lin Xian has traveled as far as anyone else in his 2 lifetimes. But Lin Xian extended his thumb and said, you really know what's going on. A faint smile appeared on the corner of the old man's mouth. Obviously, Lin Xian's flattery was very useful. If you say to this kind of person, F***ck, awesome, old man 666. People will ignore you. But that doesn't mean the old man doesn't like being flattered. You have to do it in a civilized way, and you have to be very precise. Why does Lin Xian know this? Mu Qingjian taught him. After all, her traitorous son will really have a high and powerful position in the future. But in the Dragon Kingdom, you can never be separated from the human world. If you do this again, I won't dare talk to you anymore. The old man took a deep look at Lin Xian and shook his head with a smile. Someone who will soon be your equal. But he is flattering you and asking you if you are afraid. Leave aside work. Lin Xian grinned, you can be considered my elder. The old man was stunned, laughed, and scolded, slippery. With Lin Xian's words. In addition, this time the rich country's life and death are shared. Lin Xian asks him for help in the future, will he help? They all work in a mixed system. Don't you understand this little bit of human nature? For the first time, the old man did not dare to treat Lin Xian as a junior. Think about the person standing behind Lin Xian. Ministry of Public Security, Ministry of National Security, Security Bureau, Lu family, military, Mu family, political road. In addition, Lin Xian himself will also lead Teak in the future. The old man's scalp suddenly became numb. Tico, can you stop him? I dare not think about it. So scary. What does the old king of the rich country mean? Lin Xian looked at the old man and suddenly turned pale. A little surprised, but didn't think much about it. He will give us an explanation. The old man came to his senses and his expression returned to normal. One prince is not enough. Lin Xian nodded. How much fake wine can a prince drink before he dares to kill people in the palace? Is he crazy? Is this reasonable? If it doesn't make sense, then you need to think about what drove him to do it. If a prince kills someone in the palace, this is a serious crime of beheading. Isn't he clear? If it is clear, what method must be used to save his life? And can it still benefit him? The old man and the young man looked at each other and said in unison, Crown Prince. Crown Prince, heir to the throne of a monarchy. Usually they are children or close relatives of the monarch. In the ancient Dragon Kingdom, it was a group of princes, and heirs. A prince kills someone in the palace. Only the king and crown prince can save him. Only they have this power. The current old king is the seventh king who succeeded Defu in 2015. Don't think that he is the new king and will be the king for a long time. This old king was born in 1935, and this year is 2017. How old are you now? If you say no, you will be gone. But the old king had many children. Now that there is no crown prince, these children may become the crown prince, and even now they are all the crown princes. This meaning is not difficult to understand, right? Suppose, the old king suddenly died. They may also become the new king. And the person who instructs a prince to kill is most likely the one who is most likely to become the new king. Only the new king can exempt this prince from all his sins and bring him countless benefits. For example, the merit of following the dragon and the merit of establishing the throne. So this prince is so crazy. Is there anything wrong with this reasoning? The power behind this crown prince should be the United States. Lin Xian's handsome face showed a sneer. When I have time, I will go to their country for a trip. Don't talk nonsense. The old man's face changed drastically, and he warned nervously, don't make such a joke. You are so arrogant. What is your situation? Don't you have any idea in your heart? Lin Xian muttered, then I'll go to Sakura country in the future. Don't think about it. The old man had a helpless expression. When you go to the Special Operations Department, you can only stay in Dragon Country. Lin Xian instantly felt that he was not well. The conversation between him and the old man was just a crazy test. It was almost the same as he thought. When he takes over the Special Operations Department in the future, he probably won't be able to go anywhere. Restrict my personal freedom, do you believe I will call the police? Lin Xian said tiredly. Let's solve the current problem first. He now has a bold idea. The royal family of Defu country is going to be in trouble. Who knew that just when he thought of this? Boom! The explosion sounded, and the earth shook. Suddenly, someone shouted heartbreakingly, the king is dead. Lin Xian and the old man suddenly changed color. Are the people of Defu so irritable? Solving the case is a little bitter, but my sister is super sweet. Author, Kissy. Chapter 470. Why did Lin Xian think that something was going to happen to Defu's royal family? Because someone ordered a prince to kill someone. Will the old king pursue it and find this person? What will happen if you find it? 90% will die. What if the person doesn't want to die? Rise up. You see, it's that simple. That person will definitely jump over the wall and do something. But Lin Xian never thought of it. This guy is so brave. Dare he kill the king? That's your biological father. He is truly a loving father and a filial son. Lin Xian clearly felt the hatred against the rich in himself. And a little bit of schadenfreude. It's over. The old man sighed, I hope they won't come for us. Do you believe this? Lin Xian's mouth twitched, it's impossible. If it were me, I would definitely put the death of the old king on our heads. This kind of operation is the most normal operation. Don't make excuses that they didn't do anything. The rich countries have no evidence. What level of competition is this? Does it really need evidence? In the past, the only reason for Sam's country to attack a certain country was a bag of washing powder. Living in this world, you can see all the bullshit. Sudden. Lin Xian felt countless murderous intentions and came towards their location. The killing intent of hundreds of soldiers. Came, and I was not disappointed. Someone must have told them that the king was killed by people from the Dragon Kingdom, right? Lin Xian shook his neck twice. It's time to get to work. I remember he was still thinking just now. Wouldn't it be exciting if the palace of Defa King was slaughtered? Lin Xian, I am really a crow, pure. Get ready. Lin Xian ordered all the guards and entourage, we are already the public enemies of the rich country. Everyone's expressions changed. What is the concept of a public enemy of a country? It's over, Barbie is Q. Lin Xian was not as pessimistic as them. As long as everyone in the palace is killed, everything will be fine. Taking a deep breath, he walked towards the door. Open the room, walk to the corridor, and slowly close the door. Not long time. A prince led countless people and appeared across the corridor. Behind the prince, there were densely packed soldiers. Lin Xian licked the corner of his mouth. Hungry. It has been a long time since I have faced so many soldiers. But when he saw the prince, he realized something was wrong. Why did this prince appear so quickly? Still have a question. How could this prince gather so many soldiers in such a short time? Something seemed wrong, but I couldn't put my finger on it. Lin Xian frowned slightly and looked at the prince coldly. Seeing the excitement in the other person's eyes, no sadness was found. At the same time, he also recognized the other party as the fourth son of the old king. The current energy minister of a wealthy country. The reason why rich countries can become rich is because of energy and oil. Controlling oil is equivalent to controlling wealth. This guy has a lot of money. However, apart from having money, he does not have military power or anything else. But one thing is true, anyone who controls the money bag is the father. Development requires money, weapons require money, and the military requires money. Controlling money is equivalent to controlling everything. So this prince wants to be the crown prince, no, the new king. Is it possible? Did he plan all this? Did he kill the old king? No. Lin Xian's face darkened. I always feel like what happened tonight is so unreasonable. It starts with the prince killing someone in the palace. Everything is unreasonable. An idea suddenly came to Lin Xian's mind. The old king, is he really dead? Assuming he's not dead. Everything that is unreasonable is reasonable. The prince who wants to kill the old man is the old king's man? Or is it an undercover agent placed by the old king next to someone? Is it possible? Did the old king deliberately let the prince kill someone, and was he deliberately playing a fake death to force someone to jump out? He had even discovered that this man was very close to the people from Sam country. He wanted to take advantage of the visit of the people from the Dragon Kingdom and force this person to jump out together with the people from the Sam country. How about catching them all in one go and clearing out all the uncertain factors around you? How could Lin Xian think of this? The reason is simple. That's a king. Take a look at the monarchs and emperors in the history of the Dragon Kingdom. How much is small trash? How could a king be killed so casually? Isn't this nonsense? Therefore, Lin Xian thought of another possibility. This old guy wants to use the power of the Dragon Kingdom to get rid of some people. Power equals me equals tool man? Lin Xian laughed angrily. I was almost used as a tool, right? Isn't it? You'll know if you try it. Killed. The fourth prince suddenly pointed at Lin Xian and shouted. But the words are not finished yet. Wait a moment. Lin Xian raised his hand in a gesture of surrender and smiled. Are you interested in cooperating with the Dragon Kingdom? Our Dragon Kingdom doesn't care who of you is the king, and it has nothing to do with us, but our Dragon Kingdom likes to make friends, don't you? Want the friendship of the Dragon Kingdom? The fourth prince was confused. Dazed, staring at Lin Xian. This plot is wrong. But just when the fourth prince was stunned, the soldiers behind him rushed towards Lin Xian. The fourth prince's face changed. Lin Xian's face also changed. It turned out that these soldiers were not the people gathered by the four princes. The command was actually in the hands of others. Tut tut tut. Da-da-da. Countless bullets splashed. They shot at Lin Xian like a storm, covering all the space in the corridor. There was no possibility of hiding at all. Since there was no space to hide, he would create one himself. Lin Xian's body hit the wall of the corridor half a second before the gunshot. Boom! He crashed into the wall and dodged all the bullets. When the soldiers were about to attack the big hole opened by the collision, boom, a door exploded. Lin Xian rushed into the corridor and rushed into the group of soldiers. A pair of fists waved up. Bang bang bang. Fist shadows appeared one after another. Punch after punch hit the soldier's head, neck, and chest. There were bursts of bone cracking and explosions, and the bodies of soldiers who were beaten to death flew out one after another. Da-da-da. Lin Xian, who had grabbed two weapons, waved his arms and opened fire. More soldiers fell. If they were somewhere else, they might be able to hide. But now in the corridor, how can they hide? The ruthless killing was going on. The two high-speed submachine guns were turned off. There were dozens of soldiers lying on the ground. But more soldiers were rushing over. Someone is going to pile me up to death. Lin Xian's eyes changed. First he was surprised, then numb, and finally emotionless. He roared coldly, "Old man, do you believe that I will massacre your palace?" As soon as the voice fell, suddenly, an old voice sounded, "Stop it!" It was the voice of the old king.